prepared myself. I told my best friend, I think these people are hiding something. And my best friend told me, I had a bad dream about your dad. Just go to the hospital. Make sure you go to the hospital. That phrase came out like the way people are told when somebody is dead. I started screaming. I just hugged him and he was like, I'm in pain. And my father, one thing that I feel like I traumatized him because he was trying to be so strong for me. But imagine I have heard the nurses saying that he's in so much pain. And now you have seen me, he's trying to. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Maya here. If you're new here, karibu sana. If you're a returning subscriber, you are my best friend and you don't even know it. So I love you so much. And I just came back home and I don't know, Abu, let me change this lighting. Yeah, so I think that is better. So I just came back home and it is on a Sunday. I did this video on the Souls Day, All Souls Day, but I didn't finish. I don't know. I have always wanted to do this video, but I didn't want to do it when I have so many things in my mind because I wanted to do this video for the shortest time possible without crying, maybe because I feel like I have healed. So I'm going to be giving you a small story. Some people have been really interested to know what happened to my dad, and it's been almost 5 years since 2019, but I've never been comfortable sharing that story. I've tried to do this video so many times, and I didn't manage. But today, I'm from church and we were taught about happiness and forgiveness. Like when you are happy, when God gives you happiness, you are able to forgive easily because there's not so many things. There are not so many things that are maybe hurting you. You are able to let go of that pain and. So sorry for that. So as I was saying, you are able to let go of that pain and that bitterness and there's an example that our preacher gave us about somebody who made him feel bad and he was so interested in revenging to a point that he did some sneaky things just to revenge. And it's not good. So personally, I've been trying so much to not interact with these people so that I cannot show them maybe the bitterness. But I thought I had healed for a very long time until like 1 or 2 years ago when I felt like no, I didn't even heal, and I shared it with my preacher, and he was like, "You have not yet healed. You still have bitterness." And it was time to let go, but I don't know whether I did let go of it completely because every time that story is mentioned, I feel some kind of way, and when I see those people, I'm just like, oh, am I supposed to be in the same room with you? Because I don't know whether it is still bitterness, but I thought of there's something that you are told that when you have let go of bitterness and maybe God blesses, you're supposed to call these people for a feast and stuff so that you can make peace. Because I've never been so comfortable around them. Every time they're maybe near me, I feel like you don't have to be here or I don't have to be here. We are not supposed to be in the same environment. So, yeah, so let me reconstruct the story because I don't want to make it so wrong. I have like 1 hour. I have set up my laundry. It is going on, and it's I think in the next like 50 minutes now because I've already used 10 minutes to set up. So I think in the next 50 minutes I'm supposed to be done and edit this video because during the day I'm not here. I don't have some free time that I can edit. So I want to do this video, hopefully that I won't even cry, hopefully that I'm going to maintain a straight face and also edit it by the end of the day or the end of the night because it is currently 10:30, I think. 10:39. So I'm supposed to take like 10 or 20 minutes. So what happened to my dad? It was when was it? It was in 2018. 2018, yeah. I was in the second last semester. I was in campus, and there's this time I was staying at bypass around Kamakis. I don't think most of you are going to know that place, but let me just mention it for the records. I used to have dreams of things that are going to happen, and they used to happen. And then I was not so prayerful. Like now, like you can pray and cancel things. I was not that prayerful. So I had a dream about my dad, and he had had an accident. It was on a Sunday. I went to church, and that day, the day before, then I had told my dad that I want us to have a sitting. We need to discuss something. And then now this day, it was not on a Sunday. He got an accident on a Sunday. It was on a Wednesday, because I remember it was exactly 4 days before. I had a dream that my dad had an accident, and everything that happened after the accident, I saw it in that dream. And I saw that he was going to have a bandage. There's a advert that was coming on the TV about being safe. If a driver is being reckless, you need to tell them to stop. And they used to bring somebody with that bandage. So when I had that dream, I thought maybe it's that advert. And then the dream came again. And then I saw that he had broken his ribs. Everything that happened after the accident, I saw it on that day. And I had seen in the dream that he was going to only survive for 6 days. And I think the only small prayers I prayed that time, because I was so shocked, made him maybe to stay for 6 weeks, because after the accident he survived for 6 weeks in and out of hospitals. And in that dream I saw that he was going to have an accident, and it was going to be on a rainy day, because people are not even recognizing them now in the dream, when the people who went to correct him after that accident. Okay, I never saw that there are going to be other people in the accident. I only saw him, and he was bleeding and everything. And I got so scared. I woke up, I was crying. I used to tell myself, if my dad dies, I'm going to die with him, because I couldn't even imagine my life without him. So this day, I saw my dad in an accident, and I was like the previous month, there's a friend of my mom that died, and I had told my mom, I saw your friend lying on a flat table, and she was so cold, and her kids were crying, and that friend of theirs, I think, alikuwa amezikwa. No, she had been buried like 2 weeks before this dream. So I was like, no, I don't want these dreams of death. I already dreamt the other one, and I told them, and they just laughed. They were like, mtoto, whatever she's saying doesn't have any impact. Because me, every time I used to dream about something, I used to tell people, pray about this. I saw something bad is going to happen. So they just thought it was something like, it can't be happening. She's full of health. She doesn't even have anything that is bothering her. No, she can't die. I don't know whether they prayed, because me, I did my part and I told them. So when I saw my dad's accident, I was like, no, it can't happen again. There's already one day that I've just gone down. It can't be another one. So I was there, I was crying, I was so helpless. I was not staying so far from home, but I couldn't go. It was in the middle of the night. So the following day, I told my neighbor, I had a dream about my dad. That neighbor of mine was a Kamba. And I'm not saying Kambas are bad, but she told me, no, you can go to those people from our community, and they're going to stop that death. And I was not interested in whatever she was telling me, because I just wanted somebody to listen me, because I was so afraid of telling my mom that I saw my dad having an accident and dying after 6 days. No. So what happened, the following week, I used to go home every Friday, because my dad was like, you're in campus, where are you going to be over the weekends? You need to come home. You see how skeptical parents are. My daughter is in campus. If she doesn't come home, she's going to go for those parties and stuff. So I used to go home every Friday. So I went home, and my father noticed that I'm disturbed. So I told my dad, do you remember I told you that we need to talk? And he was like, yeah, what is it? Is it another dream? Because no, I think by then they had already started thinking that I'm a dream or something. And I was so young. Okay, I was not very young because I was in campus, but I was young by then, okay, from the perspective of my parents. So my dad was like, why don't you just tell God to stop giving you those dreams? Why are you always dreaming about bad things? Why don't you dream about us being wealthy or anything? So I told him, are you going to listen to me, or are you going to start now your lectures? And he was like, okay, what is happening this time? I told him, Dad, don't try going out over the weekend, because something bad is going to happen. And he was like, so you think I'm going to die? Okay, my father was not a very he was not a very big believer of whatever was happening. And I think when your time comes to die, you feel like nothing is going okay. You feel like you are so fed up with everything, like you just give up about life. You're just living for the sake of, you woke up, okay, I'm here, let me just do this day. Like it had come to that point about my dad. Now I was really praying and I was really feeling bad about it, because now I was like, you are the only person. Okay, I have my mom and I appreciate her so much, but I loved my dad so much. So I didn't even expect that my dad would just leave me at that age. So he's telling me, even if you have lost the importance of life, just be there because of me. Because there are two or three people that were so important to me. The person I was maybe dating that time, but he was not that important. My dad and my uncle, and I had lost my uncle some few years before, and it was so hard on me. I was very young, but it was so hard on me, to a point my mom used to think like I had not yet healed. So I told my dad, you are the only person that I have who is a man, so you can't give up about life right now. And he was like, okay, what happened? Am I going to die? I told him, no, you're not going to die. You're going to have an accident, and it is going to be a very fatal accident, because it was those periods where there are so big rains, and it was raining every other day. And he was like, okay, I won't drive, but I have to go a little bit. And I told him that you are not going to go anywhere. If you have to go because of boredom, because all of us used to go to church, even my brother, my mom, and me. So he was like, now when you go to church, I'm going to be here the whole day. And I told him, if it means I have to stay at home for you not to go out, I will. And my dad knew how much I loved going to church. So he was like, if you're going to sacrifice to go to church, this is serious. I won't leave that gate. On Sunday morning, he was there. He woke up, took breakfast, and sat on his favorite seat. And he put on the TV. So I was like, Dad, are you sure you're not going to go out? And he was like, I'm not leaving this house. You can even lock the gate. You can lock the doors and everything. So that is what we did. So when we were going out, I don't know what my brother forgot. He went back, and I told him, no, don't go back. You might find my dad have changed, and he might be planning to go out. Because when we were going out, we were backbiting him, saying that one can even jump over the fence if something comes up. So we have not even done everything we need to do. We should have locked even the fences with electric wires. We were just joking. But when my brother went back, he found my father has already dressed up, and he wanted even to call us, tell us to go back and open the gates because something came up. So my brother just opened for him, and he was like, I told you, he can't stay in the house the whole day. So I was so disturbed. Even in the car, I was crying, and my mother was like, nothing is going to happen. We are going to church. We are going to pray about it. So in church, I really prayed. Hey, that day I prayed. And it was so much pain. And then I didn't notice that I was crying. The youth in that church, I was in PCA by then, we used to sit somewhere very close to the altar, and I think everybody used to see us because the cameras were mostly looking at us so that we can go silent, because when you see yourself on a camera and you're talking, you're going to shut up. So it used to come to our side so many times. So that time, everybody was seeing me crying, and I was seated that side of the youth. I was not in praise and worship by then, and most of the youths that we used to sit there were in the praise and worship. So we were left there like 2 or 3 people. So when the camera just stands to our side, everybody's going to see me, and I was crying even when people had finished worship. And my mom told me, what is disturbing you? I thought we prayed about this thing and your dad is going to be okay. So what happened, I used to go home on Friday and come back to campus on Sunday. I used to stay in Bypass by then, Aaron. So I used to come back on Sunday with shopping. You see how when you are in campus, when you go home, it's a shopping day. I used to carry everything, 2 eggs, potatoes and everything. So that day I never carried anything. We used to come from church, go home, take lunch, and then I would take my luggage and go back to my place. So I told my mom, just call my dad and tell him not to be late. Let him come back home before the rain starts. Who is my dad? So they went to have their beers and whatever. He used to drink, and that thing used to really disturb me so much, to a point even now when I'm dating, if I find a guy is taking alcohol, even one day we are divorced, because I can't expect going through whatever I went through, trying to pray for my dad to stop taking alcohol. doing the same in my marriage. I'm not doing that. So whenever I see a young person drinking and maybe we are dating, we are done, because I just can't go back there. So that day I told my mom, I don't want to carry anything. I have a feeling that I'll be back before the week ends. And my mom was like, so no, don't say that, because you're going to be having exams. That week I was having my end of semester exams. So, I mean, this is soda. It's not wine or alcohol, because people are so skeptical. They can say I'm taking Guinness. So that day I told my mom I don't want to carry anything, because I feel like I'm going to be back home. I have a feeling that I'm going to be back home before the week ends. So I went back. On that Sunday, I was so disturbed. I couldn't sleep. I didn't even cook. I used to love cooking Indomie and stuff. I've always been this soft food girl. So in my house, I went back. I cooked Indomie. I was not able to eat. I got so troubled. I called my mom. I asked him, has dad come back home? And she was like, this early, he can't be back home. It was around 7. So I tried calling dad. The call is not going through. And before then, my dad used to lose phones. Every month he would buy a new phone. Like, he would go with his phone and not come back home with it. I don't know, it was getting stolen in the pubs, or I don't know what was happening. So I thought maybe he lost his phone again. I didn't call again. So I cried. I don't know. I was crying because I don't know what is happening. And my dad is still out there. The rains have started. They are so heavy. I'm living alone. I can't even share this with anybody. The neighbor, I'm going to tell these things. She's giving me some nonsensical advices. So I just stayed in the house. So at around 11, I called my dad again, and the phone went through, but it was not being picked by anybody. So I thought maybe this thief. I'm trying to console myself. Maybe this thief stole the phone, and he's just trying to remove money or something. So I just slept. At around I think 1 a.m. in the night, I woke up. I felt like something had just dropped in my house. It was so loud, like a bang. And I thought maybe it was just these things lightning that happen when there is strong rains. Something just fell. And afterwards, I came to learn that was the time my dad got that accident. So I woke up. I tried to call my mom. She's not picking up. But the phone rang, and at some point she picked. And then they were in a hurry. They were going out. I had I don't know whether I had him on the call when he was saying, my brother, let's go. So I was like, what happened? My mom never picked the phone again. I think they left the phone in the house. So they had been called and they had been told that my dad had an accident. And remember, I had seen this accident. So while they were taking alcohol, they were called for a celebration in a place that his phones he used to. There's this new place he had started going to take alcohol, and his phones used to be stolen because they had a lot of insecurity in that area. So they had called for a party there around 12. They started going that way. And my father, because we were drunk, he was sitting in the back seat. I never put even the belt on. I don't know whether that belt would have saved him or what. It would have been worse, because the driver had the belt on and he was cut by that belt after the accident. But unfortunately, I don't know why it happened like that. Only my dad got injured, like serious injury, because now he didn't have his belt on. So when the car rolled, he was thrown outside, and he hit a rock that broke his ribs. He broke 3 on this side and 4 on the other side, just the way I had seen in the dream. And he was bleeding so much, because he used to have that issue of when he drinks so much, he used to bleed. Bleed once in a blue moon, and it would be even bad that he would even go to the hospital, say 2 or 3 days, because he used to bleed so much, even for maybe 3-4 days or even 1 week. So my dad was thrown outside the car, and when they were leaving this other place, this town, to go to the other town, there's a guy who told them, all of you are drunk, stop going. And when they went, he felt the urge of following them. So when the car got an accident, this boda guy, he used to bring my dad home when he was drunk, maybe. So the accident happened, and because he didn't know anybody from our house, he called one of my uncles and told him, I don't know, your cousin or your brother got an accident and they are somewhere in this and this place. So my uncle, who was in place that my mom used to work, called Gatondo, he was the one who went and picked my dad and the rest and took them to the hospital. And let me tell you, accident and bad times bring bad people, even enemies together. But in our case, it never went like that, even to the end, because that cousin of my dad, they were not in very good terms, because I don't know what issues of childhood issues, I don't know what was happening. But that day when he heard that he had an accident, he actually was the first one to get to the site, to the place of the accident, and took them to the hospital and called my mom. So this time I'm calling my mom after that bang. My mom is now calling my brother from the other house. My brother had a house behind the main house. So he was asking him, let's just go. My mother told me that they weren't even, I don't know whether they were barefooted. It was raining heavily. So they said, whatever shoe we are going to wear, you're going to get muddy. I think they went without even shoes. They never closed the doors. They only closed the gate. They left even the phone home, my mother's phone. They were in a hurry. Remember, I had said this thing was going to happen and it was going to be fatal. So when they were called and were told that my dad had an accident and is in the hospital, they remembered and they were so shocked. So when they got to the hospital, my dad was just calling my name. Now they are put in that place. Is it what is it called? The place you are put when you come after accident, before you are taken for the theater or anything, because somebody must come there, casualty. And that hospital, the casualty is so cold. And it was at night. These people have been laid down, they are drunk, they had an accident, and they are in the casualty. All that trauma, like, I'm not going to cry. There's a time I went to take my mom, and we sat there, and I thought, it is during the day and this place is this cold. And how did my father feel? Okay, he was drunk, maybe he was not even unconscious, but why do they have to put people here at night? Because during the day it is so cold. And we were there for like 30 minutes. I left there with a cold because my nose broke. It was so cold. And you would have to stay there because that's where the queue of going to see the doctor is. So I flashed back and thought my father was here for more than 2 hours before my mother would cry even with the police and report the accident and everything so that he could be taken in for the first aid. And trust me, those people messed my father because they never even did anything. They just told, after putting him there for almost 2 hours, they told my mom that this case is so delicate because you have broken a rib, you have broken his leg, take him to I don't know to which hospital. And that didn't traumatize my mom. Up to date, she can't ride on an ambulance because you see how ambulance go and they are running and everything. I think my mother was so traumatized by that incident because now she's the wife to this person. She have to be in that car. She sat in the front so that my brother would sit in the back, because those things, I don't know whether you have been in an ambulance. If you have never been there, please don't even desire to be there. That thing shakes and you have to hold, because you feel like that bed that the person who have had an accident is put on, it shakes so much and you feel like they're going to fall. And remember when we were transferring him off now the second time from the other hospital that he went, I had to go and hold on that bed because it was shaking him so bad. And I felt like, I don't know. So my mother told my brother to go to the back so that he can hold on that bed because they were told it shakes. And my mother sat on the front. Now you see those people, the drivers are used to driving recklessly. So they were just going poo-poo because these are serious incidents. The person who is there is on the verge of death. So it was learning from what my mother told me. Remember, all this time I'm in my house, I'm just crying. I don't know what I'm crying about, but I feel like something is not okay. And the following day I have exams. I'm doing my final exams, my end of semester exams. So my mother till date, she says even if anything happens, she will never ride on that ambulance. And I pray that her prayers will be so, because she was so traumatized. Although even me, it came to give me some trauma afterwards. So my mother, they went to the other hospital, and the X-ray that was done in that skedi. Oh my God, that hospital, I don't like that hospital. It's a very big hospital right now. It is, I think, level 5, I think, I don't know. But they did an X-ray of the side, of the front, like this one. I don't know how it is. I think they did of the front, and they didn't of the side. So they never saw the clot that was on the sides of, I don't know, the brain or what. That is what caused the death of my dad, even after all that thing happened. So the x-ray that they gave my mom to go to the other hospital with, it was not complete, or it was not efficient. So my mother just went and took the x-ray of the head of the, is it the scalp? I don't know. Whatever I'm talking about is the head. So when they went to the other hospital, it deals with all broken ribs and stuff. So they only did the operation for the leg, and they never touched on the head, because my dad used to say that he had a growth at the back of the head, and we used to say him, please do an operation for this growth to be removed. And he used to say, whoever is going to touch my head is going to be killing me. He used to fear operation that concerns the head. So even that day when that clot was seen, my uncle said, no, don't touch on his head. Let him wake up and see whether he wants that thing done. I don't know what happened. Remember, this time I'm not there. So the following day, I was so disturbed. I called my mom in the morning, and they were not picking. They are still in the hospital. They left her phone in the house, and my brother's phone went off. I went to school. I did my exam. And trust me, that is the only exam I got, what is it called? A retake. Because my dad was so strict on education. You couldn't even fail. You had to be serious about education. So me, I never got any other retake. I never even got any pass. It was either distinction or is it credit? But that time, I was so disturbed during that exam. I don't know what is happening at home. I have to sit for that exam. So after the exam, I went back to my house. Remember, I never took the indomie I cooked yesterday. In the morning, I couldn't even take it. So I felt I'm so hungry. I tried to take those indomie. I took them and I vomited. I said, I'm going to call these people. If nobody answers, I'm going home. So before I call, a friend of my mother calls me. And she's like, I'm trying to call your mother. In which hospital are they? I was now like, no, okay, it's okay. It is confirmed. Somebody is in the hospital, and it must be my dad. So I told her. She called me when I was still in school, but I never picked. My phone was in the bag. So when I went home, she called me and she told me that. I was like, what? So when I told her that, she thought, this one doesn't know whatever is happening. So she just ended the call, and she was like, oh, it was a mistake. It was a mistake. So I told her, just tell me the truth. Now I call another guy who works next to my mother at her shop. And he was like, where are you? I was like, what is happening? Just tell me the truth. And he was like, you don't know your father is in the hospital? I'm like, nobody have told me. Mom have not opened her shop. And he was like, no, and I'm sorry if you didn't know. And I told him, is it that serious? He was like, I don't know, but I heard that your father is in the hospital. Remember when this accident happened, my uncle went and spread, and I think most of the people knew my father was very famous in that Katao. We had lived there for more than 20 years. We had our own plots there, so we were staying in our own house. So somewhere you're not paying rent, you can stay yourself there for as long as you want. Until now, we relocated to now the estate we live in right now. So I called my mom. I don't know what happened, and I think I called my brother or my mom. I don't know. And I heard her saying, if he had died. No, I'm saying whatever I heard my mother saying before she ended the call. She just told me that your father is just nose bleeding, and nose bleeding is common. So don't just come, finish your exams and come back home. at the end of the week on Friday. He's just nose bleeding. Remember when they went to the hospital, my dad was just calling my name when they found him at the casualty. So all the doctors were asking them, who is Mombi? Who is Mombi? And they were like, Mombi is not here and she can't come because she's doing her exam. She's the daughter. So the doctor said, whatever he's doing right now might cause some trauma to him. Just tell her to come so that he can feel some comfort about this person he's calling. And my mother was like, no, she can't come. Remember, I was doing my exams that morning. He was calling my name. So I was like, nose bleeding. It is going to be okay. But when I was ending the call, my mother said, if he had died, this one would have come for the burial. So I thought it was now serious. This is not just nose bleeding. My father cannot die because of nose bleeding. And whereas they saying if he had died. So the following day I went did my exams and I told my mother, it's either you tell me what is happening or I come home today. So my mother told me, okay, we're going to go to the hospital. And I'd ask her, why are you telling me that you're going to come and pick me as we go? Are they not in Gatondo? Because if they are in Gatondo, I'm the one to come. You're not supposed to come because bypass and where he's supposed to be going, where he goes for nose bleeding is very, this doesn't add up. And she was like, no, he's in another hospital. And I was like, Mom, just tell me the truth. My dad got an accident. And she was like, no, I will come and pick you, just be prepared. And she ended the call. So I started praying. I don't know whether I was praying or I was crying. I prepared myself. I told my best friend, I think these people are hiding something. And my best friend told me, I had a bad dream about your dad. Just go to the hospital. Make sure you go to the hospital. Remember, I have one exam left and I have not done it. I don't think I did it. I don't know how I passed that exam. I might told somebody to fill in for me. I don't know because I never went back to school. So my mother came and picked me. We went to the hospital. So I expected to see my father at noon. And then the hospital you are going, it is known for broken ribs and whatever. So I told my mom, can he have broken the nose? Because where are we going to this hospital that only broken ribs come, only people with broken or fractured bones come? And she was like, just wait, you're going to see your father. He's alive, he's kicking. You're going to see him. And I noticed they're hiding something. So we were supposed to see him during lunch hour. Lunch hour came. Everybody went in. My mother told me he's seen the doctor. Kumbe all this time, my father is in Nairobi hospital for an operation. He's not even in that hospital we are in. That's why they are telling me we can't go to the wards. A doctor is seeing him. So I told my mother, doctors are supposed to see him when they are not here, like when there is it is not visiting hours. It passed like that. Everybody ran away from me. I was left there with my sister-in-law, my then sister-in-law, the girlfriend to my dad, to my brother. So at 4 p.m., I was like, I need to see my father now. If he's dead, just tell me. So my mother and my brother have ran away from me. They went to stay with the doctors. I don't know. They were thinking of how to tell me what happened. So this sister-in-law, she comes and I ask her, Sophie, what is happening? Like, where's my dad? And she was like, what did they tell you happened? Oh my God. That phrase came out like the way people are told when somebody is dead. I started screaming. And she was like, no, it's not that. He's not dead. We are going to see him. And I was like, it is already 5 p.m. People went in at 4 p.m. Why am I not supposed to, why am I not allowed to go and see my dad? And she was like, okay, let me go and tell the doctors you need to see your father. She ran away from me. That time I started diarrheaing. I started vomiting. And I was taken in like a patient. So my mother is like, where is she? I told them, you left me. If my father is dead, just tell me. Let us go home and mourn. That time an ambulance came about 6:30. You know, I've been sick now. They were doing first aid on me. I have not eaten for I think more than 24 hours. Because even the Indomie I took yesterday, I vomited them. So I don't know whether I fainted. I can't remember what happened. This is 2018 November. Because he had an accident on 25th. I think this is around almost 28th or 27th. I can't remember the dates well. So my father was not even in that hospital we are in. So he came in an ambulance and oh my God. He came in an ambulance And the doctors, the nurses who took him to the ward, came back to the casualty of this other hospital saying, no, the reception, Peter Maggie is in pain. Peter Maggie is in pain. Go and take some painkillers. I was like, Peter Maggie is my dad. So that is the person they are saying that is in pain. So he's the one who have come with this ambulance. I went like a mad woman and nobody could stop me. I went to the ward. I saw my dad. I saw the bandage on his head. And I didn't even ask him. I didn't even need to be told anything. I just hugged him and he was like, I'm in pain. And my father, one thing that I feel like I traumatized him because he was trying to be so strong for me. But imagine I have heard the nurses saying that he's in so much pain, and now he have seen me. He's trying to be strong, and he's in so much pain because I went and hugged him and he was like, I'm in pain. And I told him, you have broken your ribs. And he said, yeah. I can't even feel my legs because I think he had been given that medicine that you can't feel pain. What is it called? So he was not even feeling his legs. He told me, I'm sorry, I went out on Sunday. And that is why I'm here. I think they have cut my legs. And I told him, no, I can see you have your legs. And he was like, I can't feel them. Can you pinch them? Can you hit them? I told him, maybe because they have done an operation on you, you have broken this leg. I told him, and he was like, how do you know? Have they told you? And then the nurses told me, just move aside. Let us give him these injections of, I don't know if that is the painkiller, so that it can kill the pain because he's in so much pain and it is traumatizing him. So I couldn't even leave him for another 1 minute. They gave him the injections, and he was like, yeah, I have broken the ribs just the way you told me, and I'm so sorry. Just tell God for me that I'm sorry. He should just heal me because I will never go against what you are going to say. So I was like, no, this is not the time to say that. Just make sure you are okay. Are you okay? And he was like, it was so traumatizing. Whatever I can remember, I can't even close my eyes. Every time I close my eyes, now this is my dad telling me this. Every time I close my eyes, I can see all those flashbacks of what happened, and it is so traumatizing. To a point, I saw my parents, and remember, his parents are dead, and I was there. I'm telling God, no, he's not seeing his parents. He's not going anywhere. I'm crying, and the doctors were like, you can't cry in front of him. You're traumatizing him even more. So this time my mom came, my brother came, everybody came, and I was like, why did you just tell me this happened? Because I didn't want to see my dad in that state. So the doctors called me and they told me, let him just rest. He have gone through a lot in the last, I think, 24 hours or 48 hours. Let him just rest. So I just prayed for my dad and went home. I never went for the exam the following day, trust me. I don't know how I passed that exam. Maybe I don't know. Our class was full of people who can't do anything. I think they just signed in for me. So from then we were looking at, we were going to the hospital every other day. I don't know whether this video is going to be too long. I need to do a part 1 and part 2. But in case, I don't know, it is already 36 minutes and I don't want to edit. So we were going there every other day. I used to go there every other day. Remember, this time we have just moved out. We moved in 2017 to our new house, and the house was not yet complete. We were really, I don't want to say we were struggling, but we were not that stable. And remember, now my dad is not even working. He was supposed to go for exam marking. He used to be a secondary school teacher and he used to go for KCSE marking. Even his envelope for invitation for the marking had already come. So he was like, now where are we going to get money for all these? And we decided, because my mom needed to work so that we can still feed and stuff. I told my mom, I'm going to be going to the hospital every other day. I'm going to be going there at least twice in a week, because I don't want my father to feel like maybe you are neglecting him or something, but you need to go to work. Remember, this time I'm not working. My brother is not in a stable job. That time I think he was doing Mujengo. I don't know. I don't know. I wish it was like now when we are all working and we are making some good money. But then I used to go to the hospital every other day, and people thought that I'm the wife, because every day he would say, when Mombi comes, let her just come in. That security of that hospital, we are still friends today, because he used to sneak me in the hospital. I don't want to say which hospital because I don't want him to lose his job. He's still there, and he was the best security guard I've ever encountered. He used to see me and just take me in to see my dad. And I think my laundry is done. Let me check it and then come. Can hear the So I have set my laundry on the machine. So I don't know whether it's the one that is vibrating. No, it's done. I don't know. So I don't know whether you can hear that noise. And it's, yeah. So every time I would go, he would just sneak me in. My father was in a corner, so I would go and hide there, and nobody would see me. Even when the nurses saw me, even after that visiting hours are done, we were big friends with those nurses. I made friendship with everybody so that they can let me get enough time with my dad. So I used to go there very early, around even 12. Before 12, I would go in. I would be sneaked in. We stay there with my dad. And every time he was like, hey, I thought you were not coming. Oh, Sujiwa, oh, is your mother okay? Have she forgiven me? Because he had done some things to my mom, and he felt like he need to apologize to my mom. But my mom is the best. He was not even remembering that. And even if she was remembering, how can you start showing some bad attitude to somebody who is sick? So I don't think she would be that heartless. But all this time, my mother was only not coming every other day so that she can work and get some money for us to feed and get transport to go there every other day. My brother is in Amujengo, so I'm the only one who is available to go there during the day. So people thought I was his wife because we were so big friends, and they used to say, we want to give you medication when you are here because he can't give us out of trouble because he loves you. And once to pray, and he was telling me, every time he was telling me, just pray, I want you to tell God sorry for me. And I used to pray for my dad like 10 times in that visiting hours. Then I would stay in the hospital until 4 p.m. and then give him food. I don't know. They used to get very good food, but I wanted to feed him. And those people even would bring food for me. I had become like one of the staff there. So after some few days, it was now already Christmas. After some few weeks, almost he stayed in that hospital for almost 2 to 3 weeks, and I had another dream that my dad was. He had been healed and he was going home, but I never saw which home he's going. So I told one of the priests that I knew that time, and he was like, that's not a very good dream, but let's just hope it is good. And my father used to tell that preacher, just come and pray for me so that I can get saved. And he was like, no, getting saved in the hospital is like desperation. You just need to come back home and be good. So I thought, this preacher don't want to pray for my dad because he's a sinner. I went and prayed for him. Like, like you see how people are told, say this after me, Lord Jesus, forgive me my sins. I read my father to salvation when he was in that hospital bed, because this preacher was not telling him whatever he wanted to know. So that was on 23rd when I saw him getting better. And trust me, when we went for Christmas, because we spent that Christmas in the hospital, we found my dad walking on those 4 wheels. And I was so happy. He's the one who came for us. And he had told the security, when they come, let me surprise them that I'm walking. So I dropped everything. I ran towards him and I hugged him. And he was like, no, I'm not yet strong. Don't make me fall. So I was like, okay, just walk. I was so happy because now I felt like my dream is coming true, that he's going to be healed and he's going to go home. So that day, it was not a very happy day. Remember, we spent my birthday. My birthday is on Jamhuri, in the hospital with my dad the whole day. And he gave me some money and told me, I'm the one who always do your birthdays, because my father celebrated all my birthdays since I was a kid. We never skipped any. Even when he used to go for those marking, and sometimes he would go far, he would not be able to come on Jamhuri. So he used to send me money and I would do my birthday celebrations. So he told me, just because I'm in the hospital doesn't mean that you're not going to have your birthday. So he gave me, I think, that 1,000 that day, and told me, tomorrow you're not going to come. Go buy a cake and celebrate with your friends. Now on 13th. So he gave me that money on 12th, and I was so happy. So 25th, I was like, I thought you were going to be home. So this time we are cooking. Let me tell you something. Now the worst part about this story.